What's up everybody, I'm Jesse Showalter, and in this episode we're going to be building an augmented reality dashboard inside of Adobe XD. We're going to be doing the design, the prototype, we're going to be using some 3D transforms and animation to bring the whole thing to life, as well as a few little tricks to make it really feel like it's augmented reality. Let's do it. All right, so I have Adobe XD open and I have a starting file. There's not much here really. It's just a 19 by 20 by 1080 artboard, and on that artboard I have an image of this living room with this couch, and it has a plant over here on the right hand side and a lamp. I also have a document assets panel that has a few colors and some fonts, some different typeface selections. We're gonna use Avenir for this project. And down below I have a couple icons and I have a box. What I also have is over on my desktop, as well as my project and my actual shot, I have a similar shot. I've already gone into Photoshop, basically used the pen tool and just extracted out some components. So you can see it's just the couch, and really I'm just looking for the tops of the plant and the couch and that lamp so I can get a little bit of three-dimensionality out. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna come into my layers panel here where I have my background image. I'm gonna unlock it. I'm just gonna copy and paste another version. I'm gonna call it overlay. What I'm gonna do is just drag my PNG over it. You won't see anything change, but look, it's there. My images are now there. Let's lock both of these and extend Adobe XD back out. And what we can do is, one of my components is just this blurred box. I can drag that out, and you can see it's just a white rectangle with some rounded kind of corners there, and it has, if I click into it, it has some background blur happening. So I made one box before this started that had this background blur that I really liked, and I just saved it as a component, because then I can just take that box and make it any size I want and get that cool thing. Now here's what's really cool about this. Come back to my layers panel, I can just take that blurred box and I can just move it behind, and now you can see we're gonna get some fun three-dimensionality, almost like it's an AR kind of augmented reality dashboard. But for now, let's just keep everything on top. Let's work that way until we're done setting everything up. Here's what I'm gonna do first. I'm just gonna take this, I'm gonna stretch it out, and I'm gonna get kind of the constraints of my project. About right there, 222 away from each side. Now I could have brought out some layouts or a pixel grid, but for this one, I'm just trying to go for something kind of simple and easy. So first thing I'm gonna do is maybe like something to do with email. I'm just gonna stretch this out. Now remember, when I'm done, everything's gonna tuck behind my elements, just like that. So it's gonna look really cool and bring some of that dimensionality. So we have our blurred box. The first thing we wanna do is we wanna create some sort of, I don't know, email-like section. So let's just hit E for ellipse, and we'll draw an ellipse right there. This will be the avatar of our of the person that's sending the email. Let's just make it a color so you can see it really quickly. And then why don't we do this? Let's hit T for text and just put a name, like I don't know, like Carrie Larson. Okay, so Carrie Larson has emailed us. We're gonna put that right there. And then why don't we drop another version of it down? And it's at 27 pixels. Why don't we drop it down to something like 17? I feel like that's doable. Let's take both of these and make them a legible kind of text. So we'll make the name a little bit bold. It's in book right now. We're using Avenir. So let's bump it up to medium. And let's take this one and make it auto height text. That means we can span this out. How far is this away from the edge? 37. Let's kind of round that off to be something more like 35. And then we'll make this one about 35 pixels away from the edge. This way we can come into something like Content Generator, a plugin that we have, and open up Content Generator and say, hey, give me a paragraph. And then I will just kind of trim that paragraph down, but the text is going to trim down as well. See that? And we might actually want even a little bit less, because this is like an email preview. It's not the entire email itself. Let's just tuck that up close by and grab both of these. Cool. Now, next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come over here to another plugin called UI Faces, and I'm just gonna apply randomly a UI face or an avatar from somewhere out on the web. Really, really easy stuff so far, but it's gonna go ahead and drop it in there any second. Boom, now we have a person. Very cool. Let's grab all of these. Let's group them together, and then let's just press a repeat grid in Adobe XD. This is gonna allow us to drag down a bunch of versions of our email. And then if we zoom in, we can also hit the little the little gutter or spacing in between, and just choose what we want our spacing to be in between our emails previews, just like that. All right, because this is a repeat grid, we can add elements to it very, very easily. So the first thing we can do is just grab that first image, and I can open up this assets folder that we have, and I have a bunch of avatars and I have some names. So I'm gonna grab all 40 of these avatars and drag it into that first image. It'll replace everything. I also have a text document full of names, and I can drag that into the name area right there, and it's gonna replace all the names as well and just fill it in. So that's really cool. Now the next thing we want to do is we have this list and it is expanding down past where we want it to, right? So the thing we can do next is we can actually turn on a vertical scroll group. So we're going to grab that repeat grid, turn on the vertical scroll group, and then just set the limitations of that scroll group to be the bottom of our element and the very top of our element. Now when we press play in Adobe XD, we should be able to scroll through our emails and see all the different emails we have. And if we want to come back later and say, hey, I want this to be a little bit longer, my scroll group, I can click into my scroll group, make sure I'm like addressing my repeat grid, and just repeat a bunch more of these. I can have lots and lots of emails, but they're all contained right there inside that little thing. Now we're going to take our blurred box, separate, and our scroll group that has the repeat grid inside of it. We're gonna group it together. We're just gonna call this email. And you know, there's one more thing I feel like we need that I didn't put in here. Why don't we actually just take the name, duplicate it over, and because it's a repeat grid, it's gonna repeat it everywhere. And why don't we just make a today like this? We'll right hand align it. Let's make it really, really small. And just put it at the top right hand edge like that, and we'll drop it down to like a gray, something like that, okay? And it says a different name in each and every one, so we would now have to come back and fix that, but that's okay. Today and today. All right, so we should have done that beforehand, but that's okay. Now we have this nice long email list, and we can see all the emails that are coming in today or tomorrow or whatever. So that's the first thing. Now, again, remember that when we're done here, we're gonna take all of our elements and we're gonna move our overlay on top of it like that. So we'll get this really cool dimensionality here as we are kind of cruising through our interface. That's a nice look right there. Next thing we want to do is maybe do something about the weather. So let's just go back to our components and drag out another white box, and we'll make sure we're spacing things appropriately on the lines. How far away do we want to put this from our email? Well, I'd say maybe 35. So let's just kick that out to be about 35, and let's give it a little bit more space like this, and let's start working on some text inside of it, shall we? So we'll just bring this over. I'm in Austin, so let's just put Austin there, nice and big. Actually, let's keep it small, and you know what we'll do? The number underneath it will be our temperature. And I always forget how to type the degree symbol, so I went and found it online. Now we can see that it is 71 degrees. All right, now that we have our temperature and our location done, I'm just gonna hit T for text again, and I'm gonna go ahead and add, again, some more little details here. So like, let's add the temperature, and then up above it, we could do something like 2 p.m. And we're gonna make sure that both of these are center aligned text and that they are lined up together. And let's go into our assets, and let's just say that at around 2 o'clock, it is gonna be sunny. We're gonna grab all these elements and just line them up and then kind of distribute them evenly. Let's group them together, and then let's just move that up. And then let's repeat grid. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, something like this. And then let's kick it over all the way. So again, we have these things we need to line up on the left-hand edge, and let's just line them up about 40 on this one. And that means that we need to do the same here. Let's just stretch it out a little bit more, almost there, and 40, there it is. Now we can come in here and change all of these times, obviously, like that could be 3, this could be 4. Okay, let's zoom in and let's see if maybe we could ungroup it from the grid. And can we replace now? We sure can. Let's replace that. So we'll just drag these each in there. to say, hey, it's going to be kind of cloudy. Just selecting the icon and then dragging the new icon into place over it. And then why don't we come to this one and just say, hey, that's when nighttime is coming. So just dictating nighttime happening there, boop, just like so. All right, cool. And then we could add one more little thing over here. Let's just copy and paste one more piece of text, and we're gonna make sure it's lined up with the other one. We'll just drag it over to the right-hand side, right hand align it, and we'll just say high of 79, and we'll do low of, and let's just take the space out here, low of 65, something like that. And I'll tell you what, let's bring the opacity of that down. And I feel like we should probably have a little bit of differentiation between some of the things that are happening here, like 23, and again, bring the opacity down a little bit, like that. Okay, cool. Now let's go to our layers and grab all of these layers and just group them together and move them up into the right position. Okay, now we have all the different elements here. Good. Grab the whole thing, all the layers. Let's call this weather. Cool. Now we have a weather widget that's in there as well. Let's do one more, and let's call this the stocks. So we're gonna just drag another one of our blurred boxes out. And again, we're about 35 away on that side, so let's be 35 away on this side as well. And we'll just line that up, lining it up. We could turn off our smart guides now, we don't need those. And why don't we do something like a title? We'll just grab that. And let's zoom in here on this box, paste it in there. And what were we, 40 away from the edge there? Yeah, so we should be 40 away from the edge here as well. How far away from the top were we? We were about 35 away from the top. So that would be good to kind of match that same spacing, okay? But this time, we're gonna call this one stocks, like that. And this one will be really, really quick and easy to do. We'll just come in here and take our pen tool, and from the bottom here, we'll just start drawing some 45-degree angles. Maybe we'll go straight for a little bit and come back up and down. Maybe it really went up high and across and even higher, like that, okay? Now let's do, we'll take the size of this and stretch out the border, and do we wanna do soft edges or jagged edges? Let's keep them, let's go soft. Let's go a little bit softer, and let's grab one of our colors. So why don't we do this in our blue color? Just apply that blue color, and why don't we give it a little bit of a shadow? Let's make the shadow that blue color as well, but we'll bring the gradient of that down just a little bit, like that, okay? So that's pretty cool. So far, so good. Why don't we do another graph here? So we're just gonna head back to our path. Let's copy and paste another one, but this time we're gonna fill it with maybe like a green color, like maybe a nice bright, vibrant green. Let's stash that color down here. And for the shadow, we'll use green as well, but we'll bring it down. And then we are going to just make this one a little bit different. So we'll just shrink it down up there like that. We can maybe make a few things go the opposite way. This stock is not quite doing as well as the other stock. Something like that. All right, we'll grab a bunch of these elements, the blurred box, the name, and our two stocks. We'll put that together, and we'll call that the stocks widget. Okay, and now when we put that over the top, we get this really cool augmented reality style. Everything's kind of tucking behind the elements. But the next thing we want to do is we want to be able to click on a single thing and then have some text jump out. So why don't we go ahead and drag over another version of this artboard, and we'll call this one email. We'll just do one version of this, and then you can see how it would apply to the rest of them. We're gonna take some text, and we are going to, let's see, do something like this. Drag out a nice big thing of text and say something like, you are 10 emails away from being inbox 0. Congrats. Okay, so we'll just do those wording like that. Let's bump up the size of this text to make it really, really big. And then obviously we're gonna have to adjust the line height as well to match. So let's do something like that. Okay, almost there. Yeah, we're getting close. Yeah, that's looking a little bit better. Just big, huge words. Inbox 0, keep it up instead. Okay, let's make those words big, like heavy, black kind of text there, no problem. And then what we want to do is we want to take everything, the stocks and the weather, and we want to bring the opacity of it way down, okay? Maybe we will just have a ghost of it there at like 2%, okay? And then we'll take our text, let's give it a little bit of drop shadow. Let's move it right over there. And once we get here though, here, let's get our overlay out of the way. We want our email to go a little bit three-dimensional. So why don't we just, whoop, we'll just tip our email box in like that. And then we will take our text there and we'll make sure that it's back here in the same space. Maybe we'll come out of here and we will turn our opacity down, something like that, okay? So maybe we can actually hide it underneath email, and we can hide this one underneath email as well. All right, cool. So now we should be able to come to prototype, and we should actually be able to hit our email widget and head over here and say on tap. We want to auto animate over to email, and let's do a snap, and let's do it at 0.6 seconds. And when we hit it again, we can head back just like that, okay? And let's see what that looks like. We'll bring up our prototype. Should be able to open or tap our email. Whoop. See things kind of zip out. Now I want a little bit more motion, I feel like. So why don't we come back in here to design, and why don't we just zip this one around a little bit more. I really want to play with our 3D transform. And I think also we should take our weather and our stock and we should kind of like push them down, don't you think? I feel like that would be a cool look. Now we should be able to, there we go. Things are kind of moving, aren't they? And we could do this for each and every one of our widgets, but the last thing we want to do to just complete the whole vibe is come into each one and make sure our overlay is up at the top, and check it one more time. And now it actually kind of blends into the surroundings. And we can still, because that scroll group is inside, we still have the ability to scroll it even when it's 3D transformed, which is really, really cool. What I think is really cool also is that it's saving the position of the, like where we've scrolled in our email widget over here on the left-hand side. It's saving that position as it transitions from artboard to artboard, which is really, really cool. So just a little bit of tweaking here, adding a few more interactions like this, and we'd have a really cool augmented reality dashboard. Well, that's it. That's our augmented reality dashboard. What would you have done differently? Let me know down in the comments. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I do lots of videos about design and development and Adobe XD just like this one, so maybe stick around. And if you're interested, hit that little join button, become a member, and get this design file as well as all the other design files as well by becoming either a supporter or an insider. I hope you guys are having an amazing week. I hope you're designing amazing things. I hope you're making amazing things. And I hope you are wowing people with your designs. I'll see you in the next one.